Hello, guys. Today marks exactly 10 years. It is the 10th anniversary of my husband. It marks exactly 10 years since I lost my husband. Today being the 20th of January 2025, I lost my husband. It was a sudden one, and today I'm going to share with you the grief, the loneliness that I've been going through ever since. I'm going to share with you just basically how my life has been since I lost him in 2015 of January. It was a very sad day. It was a very sad year to begin with. In January, I remember on the 19th of January, my husband came back home early from work. He came back home even, it was so early, it was not even noon. And I remember talking to me. He called me on phone. He talked to me, and he told me he's already back home. I asked him, "Why are you back home early?" And he was like, "There was no much work, and he just wanted to come back home to rest." So I said, "Okay," and he told me to close my shop. I remember I was running a hardware then, and he told me to close it, and I come back home and be with him. I'm like, it's still early. Why should I close now? I always close at 5 p.m. But he insisted on me closing. So I said, okay, I'm coming. So I closed my shop. On my way going back home, we were talking on phone, and he, he told me that I should come back with something to cook. And he even sent me some money to buy some food to come home and cook so that we can eat all of us. I bought some food and I went back home. When I got home, I found him lying on the couch. My kids were in school then. At that time, it was because it was still early, they were not back home yet. But I was with my sister-in-law who was there with him. They were just making stories as they wait for me. So when I came, I cooked. We ate as we were making stories. He had that beautiful smile that he has always been having when he's making stories. You made so much fun. We laughed. And my kids came back from school. He had some time, good time with them, and they did their homework. They ate their supper and they went to bed. So I was left with only him. So even earlier on, he started complaining of headache, general weakness of the body. So to him, he thought it like pressure is getting up because he had pressure before. So he sent his sister, because we were staying with the sister, he sent the sister to go and get him some medicine, pressure for pressure. Okay, she went to the same chemist that he always buys medicine from, and he got him. The doctor in the chemist knew him, so he gave him the medicine that he always gives him. So he brought the medicine. She brought the medicine home, and he took it. But that night, he became more restless. He became so restless. And he was having a headache. He told me to bring him some painkillers, and which I did. I got him the painkiller and I brought water for him, and he took it. But that was still not enough. He could come to bed for a few minutes, wake up, to go to the kitchen, drink water, come back, and I will ask him what is wrong. He will tell me I have a headache. So he went to the toilet, and when he was out, he came back to me and told me that he fell. He fell in the toilet. So like he hit his head, the back of his head, he hit on the bowl of the toilet. So I never thought it was that serious. I just like said, I'm sorry about that. I never thought that the fall that he fell in the toilet was that hard. So when he came back to the bedroom, after he told me that, he slept and he woke up again, and it was like around 3 a.m. and he was telling me the headache is becoming intense. So I started getting worried. I called his driver. He had a driver that was taking him to work every day. So I called his driver. Can you come home and let's take Isaac to the hospital? He's not feeling well. The driver told me, since it is still early, can I come like in an hour's time? And I said, okay. And he asked me, is this, is, is it serious? Like, so I said, no, he's just telling me he's having a headache and the headache is too much. So we stayed with my husband in the room. We started walking up and down. He was so restless. And we were talking, and I was telling him just to wait. The I've called the driver. He will come and we'll go to the hospital. So my husband, like, he left the room and went to. He told me he's going to the washroom, and before he even reached the washroom, he collapsed. He collapsed at the corridor, and he called me. I rushed to him, and I'm like, "I'm here. What's wrong?" That was the last voice I heard from him. He never talked again. He never talked to me again. He was just lying there restless. I called his sister. The sister was in the other room, and she came, and he was waking him up. Isaac, wake up. He wasn't talking. I was so shaken. I called the driver again. I called the driver. I told him, like, this is now serious. Just come home. We need to take Isaac to the hospital because now he has collapsed. He's not waking up. He's not talking to us. Just come back. We take him to the hospital. So my driver came home. It was very early in the morning. So the driver came and he went to where Isaac was lying, and he was trying to wake him up. He couldn't wake up. And he told me, now we have just to lift him up to the car. The three of us, his sister, I, and the driver, we lifted him to the car. He was heavy. He was a tall, huge man, so you can imagine the weight. He was very heavy. We took him to the hospital. We took him to the nearest hospital. So when we got to the hospital, he was put on the trolley and they took him inside. So we were to wait for the doctor to come and check on him. So when the doctor came, what I heard from the doctor's mouth was, "There's no life here." I was like, "No, what are you saying? There's no life here." The doctor repeated, "Yeah, there's no life." I remember I just burst out and started crying. I was like, "This person was just okay yesterday. How come you're telling me there's no life here?" It was so sad. Anyway, I thought I've healed. I thought I'm a strong woman. And if I start talking about this, I feel like it was yesterday that it happened. In a way, it feels like yesterday. And in a way, again, it feels like it's forever. I didn't want to believe the doctor. I didn't want to believe what you told me is true. I just didn't want to believe him. I cried. I cried so much, looking at my husband's lifeless body lying up there, talking to him to wake up, telling him to wake up. He was just sleeping. He was not talking to me. I remember the first person I called was my dad. My dad was still alive then, and he was in Nairobi by then. So he came immediately to the driver called it, the people at work. They all came, and we transferred my husband's body to the mortuary. I can't believe that my husband has left us. I've lived in that denial till now that he has left and is not coming back. The fact is, I thought I could always tell myself, like, he has just gone to work somewhere and he will come back to me and the kids. And I was wrong. Days goes by, and he was not coming back. I had, I had to live with the reality that he's not coming back. I had to be strong for these kids. I had to wake up and be strong for these kids because he left me with still young kids. My boy was only 2.5, my girl was 4 years, and my stepdaughter was 11. It was so hurting to lose a loved one just suddenly like that. It was very, very hurting. My world turned upside down. The loss left a big hole, a big gap in my heart. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. The pain was so intense. It was too much to bear. I remember when the body was still in the morgue, I really, really wanted to know what transpired, what made his life come to an end, because he was just a healthy man, a very jovial man. So that's why we we as a family asked for a post-mortem to be done on him so that we can know what really put an end to his life. The post-mortem was done and the results came out, and the results was like, due to the fall that he had, he hit his head and he had internal bleeding in the skull. So that's what brought an end to his life, the internal bleeding. If only he never fell that day, he could have still been with us. But who am I to judge God? God knows everything. God has a reason for everything. And he knows why he took him at that time. I had to wake up and be strong for my kids. The struggle was real. I looked at my kids, I was like, will I give you the same comfort my husband was giving you? But I just had to wake up from my comfort and decided to start working hard for these kids. I promised to give them the comfort their dad gave them, even though I cannot reach that standard, but I'm giving them my best. So for the last 10 years, I've been working so hard. And thank you to my family, my friends. They've always stood by me. They've always come and talked to me, helped me emotionally. They've helped me financially. And I cannot deny that they've always stand by me. My kids are now teenagers. My boy is 12. My girl is 14. My stepdaughter is 21. And I thank God for that. Every time I look at these kids, they give me courage. They give me a reason to move, to continue living. They are the reason that I am stronger now. It's now 10 years. I've never remarried. All I wanted is to take care of these kids. My kids were still young, and I wanted my kids to grow and be dependable, be independent. That's what I meant. And to be able to take care of themselves. Death is cruel. No matter how long time flies, no matter how long it was that I stayed with him, it is never enough. The 6 years I was with my husband, I felt like it was never enough. I feel like I needed just like one more day with him, one more night. But he's gone. He's not coming back. I have to live with that reality that he's not coming back. I was never prepared for that, but I just had to make myself stronger for my kids. The sadness in me is too much. Sometimes I remember the early years. I remember I could just go to my room and cry. I never wanted to do it in front of the kids because I wanted my kids to see me as a strong woman that I am. Every time I could ask God questions, why? Why did you take him so early like that? I was still young then. Why are you leaving me alone with these small kids? But my kids are now grown and I'm happy. I thank God for all the things there for us. The big hole that was left in me, my kids are there to always make sure I'm okay. Every time I look at them, it brings happiness in me. It brings happiness in my life. And I thank God for always being there for us. Every time, every person has a timeline for grieving. Not everyone is the same. Someone can grieve for a year, another one 2. Some people can even go for 10 years just grieving. It depends with how you are. Not everyone is the same. And all I can say right now is I thank God for always being there for me. Raising these kids alone, it's not easy. Being the mother, being the father to them, it's not easy. But the Almighty God has always been there for us. We'll always praise and worship Him every day, all our lives. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story.